Hello. Did you guys know that 1 in 68 children are diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder? And this is according to the CDC's Autism and Developmental Disability Monitoring Network. And as of 2014, 3.5 million Americans are diagnosed with this. It is also one of the fastest growing developmental disabilities around. With these kind of numbers, it's shocking that I had no idea what it was until I started school here at UWGB. I started to hear about it in my classes and my lectures. And then one day, my sophomore year of college, I received an email for a job opening as a line therapist working with children with autism. I thought, great, I'm looking for a job and this can be a really, really good experience. I had no idea from taking this position, it'd bring me to where I am here today. From being a line therapist, I have learned so much about this disorder and just how much psychology plays a role in it. And today I'm going to discuss with you what autism is and what I do for a job. But before I start talking about that, I want to clear the air about some common myths that you might relate with autism. But to understand those, you probably want to know what autism is. According to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-5, there are common persistent deficits that you see in individuals with autism. A very common one is going to be social communication and interactions, and have deficits in these areas. This can be something as simple as having a conversation back and forth, to nonverbal communications such as eye contact or spacing. They also, you see, having troubles maintaining and developing relationships, like friends. You also see restrictive and repetitive behaviors. This can be something as simple as a child lining up something in a line over and over again, to being kind of stuck in a schedule and needing routine to keep from having problem behaviors, and not being very flexible with a change in schedules. You're also going to see maybe an obsession about an idea or a concept for a very long period of time. These symptoms show up very early in children, even as of the age of 3. Other symptoms that kind of accompany this diagnosis can be intellectual disabilities, motor coordination, and attention problems. One of the common myths that I have heard is that autism affects all children the same way, or all individuals the same way. This, of course, is not true. Two individuals with autism are going to be affected the same way. Like I've learned in my abnormal psychology class here at UWGB, with other disorders like major depressive disorder or schizophrenia, two people are going to be affected the same way or have the same severity of symptoms. But it's important to challenge this with autism because it is a spectrum disorder, and by its very definition, the symptoms are going to vary from person to person. So some individuals may be nonverbal, while others may excel in different areas like math and reading. Some people might have more problems in the social area compared to the school-based area of skills. Another common myth that people might believe is that autism is going to grant these individuals a special ability, like becoming a math genius or a musician prodigy. Many of us might have seen Raymond, and we see this in this case, but autism doesn't grant them these gifts. They are no more likely to get these abilities than someone without autism. You also see people thinking that autism is something that is just a child's disorder and that they're going to grow out of it. Unfortunately, it is a mental disorder that will be affecting them for probably the rest of their lives. The extent to which it is affecting them is where the treatments and therapy are going to come in. So it's not a lost cause like some might believe for treatments. There's a lot of different treatment techniques out there, like ABA, which I'm going to discuss in just a little bit, that can help these individuals because they're going to be children who are going to be growing up and to become adults with autism. And the earlier and more intensive these type of treatments are, the better off they are to show benefits in social skills, communication skills, and cognitive skills. However, with saying that, it's no guarantee. Not everyone is going to have the same benefits from these techniques. Some may have great benefits from treatment like ABA. Others might not show any, and some may worse as they age. But now that you kind of have an idea of some myths and what the actual facts are about them, I can talk to you about what I do for a job. As a job, I work as a line therapist through Fox Valley Autism, and we use a treatment technique called ABA. ABA stands for Applied Behavioral Analysis. This is a highly supported technique that has shown effectiveness through peer review studies. It works on teaching the individuals skills in different areas like school, daily lives, and has shown to reduce problem behaviors that they might have. And so what I get to do is I get to come into the home of where the child is at, because I am with a home-based program compared to a center-based, and I get to set up work sessions with them. And these work sessions are going to be based on the levels that are determined by the lead therapist, so somebody who's above me, and by their analysis of the child of what levels they're at. And so an example of what these might look like is something like up here. We have three activities that we're going to be doing during this session. We're going to be working on reading, writing, and adding. And you see what the current levels are. So reading, the current level is 3rd grade. And what we mean by getting to them to be the level that they're at is going to be like 5th grade. So we're going to be working at the skill level that they're at. We're going to try to increase it through different types of techniques and working with them individually. We also do writing drills, which could use hand over hand, which means literally me putting my hand over theirs and us working through it together. Obviously, what we're going for and what we're aiming to do is to make it independent writing. These levels are very important to understand for these children that I work with, because that way we can see what we're doing is being effective or not. So if we need to change what we're doing, that's why this technique has so much data with it, because it's something that we can collect information from and then analyze it. And what we do to change these behaviors and modify what we've got is where psychology comes in and plays a huge role. One of the main concepts that we use is a thing called reinforcements. And what we do is we combine a reinforcement or a positive thing with their good behavior, their good compliance, or their good choices. And this is a lot like B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning. And these things can be as small as candy to as large as an outing. It completely depends on an individual. And what we've also learned from Skinner is that it needs to be something the child wants to have them develop these good behaviors, because it encourages them to continue with these behaviors. And then these reinforcements can be changed through the time that we're working with them. So obviously candy might not work through all their time through therapy. They might get bored of it, so we need to modify it as we go along. But we have to also understand what kind of reinforcements they enjoy. Some individuals might love candy, while others might despise it. And some might think a hug as a universal positive thing. Well, for some people with autism, it can be extremely painful and extremely uncomfortable because it's overstimulating for them. So we need to understand where they're at. We also use things like punishment. Although it might not sound so fun, these things aren't that bad. It can be something from a chore to just ending a game early. And these usually come from having behaviors that can be harmful or just dangerous to them or to others. We also use another theory from psychology, that is Bandura's social learning theory and his idea of modeling. And what Bandura states about modeling is that we learn through others' behavior, through observations of others' behaviors, attitudes, and the outcomes of these behaviors. So while I'm working with a child, we're going to model appropriate behaviors while we're eating or communicating, so appropriate spacing and eye contact, so that they can maybe imitate us later. We also do things like role play, where I might act out something where I'm angry, and instead of yelling or hitting, I'm going to use a more calm way to settle myself down. And by modeling this, they can imitate me and they can learn the process through this, which is a great way for them to learn different behaviors and what the outcomes of the behaviors will be. And ABA has been shown to be supported by a lot of evidence to foster very simple skills such as looking, listening, imitating, to even more complex skills like reading, writing, and even understanding other people's perspectives. Several peer-reviewed studies have shown that a combination of ABA techniques into comprehensive, intensive, and early intervention programs has shown to have a lot of benefit on the child or the individual. What we mean by comprehensive here is simply that it's going to be a wide range of skill levels, or skills in general. So it can be from school skills to daily life skills to communication skills. Early intervention is going to be as early as 4 years of age. So the earlier, the better with these interventions is what they've seen. And intensive is going to be 25 to 40 hours a week for 1 to 3 years. So it's a lot of therapy and a lot of stuff that they have to go through. But they have seen generally from the studies that these children who go through this intensive ABA treatment programs have shown greater benefits and have more improvements in skill areas than individuals without this type of treatment. They also see that parents have a reduced stress level with this type of treatment compared to others, which is very important because this can be very stressful amongst the families and the children. So why is this important? Why did I decide to talk to you about this? Well, I hope you learned a little bit of what autism is and kind of some of the symptoms that you would see and how psychology plays a role in the treatment and the diagnostic. But I also want to kind of hope you conclude with what the people are that I work with. They are awesome individuals who have great attitudes and are such hard workers, and I love everything about them. I give them so much credit for all the work that they go through and all the treatment that they have, because I know this can be stressful on them and their families. And we have to understand that they are unique in every way, and they're not just what the disorder is going to make them. Which is why, when I like to talk about individuals with autism, I say a person with autism rather than an autistic person or autistic. Because when you say it in this way, you're bringing a stigma or a label that these individuals are going to act in a certain way just because of the disorder that they have. And that's not fair to them. They are unique, and that is why I love this job. It is so rewarding, and I get to see the improvements and the strides that all these individuals are making. Some of them you can see within weeks, some might take months to see. But these impacts and these improvements that they're making is what makes, is what's so important for these type of treatments and any treatment in general. It shows that what we're doing is impacting this person's life. And that's what I hope you guys learn from this talk, is that I hope you learn a little bit of what autism is and that psychology as a major can impact other people's lives and how important it is to have people within this field. And in case you guys want to learn more about autism, there's two great websites above. There's Autism Speaks and the National Autism Association. They're both wonderful websites that can give you more information. Thank you for listening.